It always comes to something really horrific before something gets done about it.
It does. It's just crazy. But this is why when you look at a lot of things, especially to do with mental health and suicide prevention, you look at it's all about the preventative measures. It's all about those all the time. We wait until something happens before we have to deal with it. We don't look at the build up and everything. And I truly believe that everything we do as human beings is a contributing factor into how people are affected and how it affects you as well. And this is why it's sort of the karma side of the Buddhism and the Eastern way, the Hindu side of things, isn't it, as well? So I started looking more into that sort of thing because I've had to learn a way to become at peace within myself.
Sure.
After having suicidal thoughts for an entire year. And I thought about joining my son every single day. I planned it so many times. Do you know what I mean? I actually set an end game, Kev, at one point. Did I speak to you much about all this?
No, we didn't have a whole lot of time. We had a very short conversation, but it was intense, which was great.
I reached a part in my own mind where I'd actually planned it. I'd planned it the whole lot. And it was quite sort of, to me, it was to go up Everest. I got obsessed with mountains. I felt good pushing myself through mountains. I still do. I get a lot of solace. Mm-hmm. But I've reached a point where I don't actually need to live for myself anymore, but I'm not prepared to create more suffering for other people. So I thought, if I'm going to stay, I don't just want to survive the darkest parts of my own mind, thinking of joining my son to whatever place we go to afterwards. If I'm going to stay, I don't just want to survive. I want to thrive. Which, to be fair, I want to eventually. When my children are maybe a bit older, I don't want to be telling your own story. You've got to be so conscious you're also telling other people's stories. And it digs up their trauma and their perception of what's happened through the loss of my son. Do you know what I mean? How they sort of see it all. And it can be so difficult. And that's my immediate family. Do you know what I mean? We've all gone through so much. I mean, just because I can talk about so much, it doesn't mean they can, does it? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But eventually I'm going to write a book actually called, I've got the title set up and everything. I just think it's so apt. Things are evolving so much for me in my mindset that I've created to deal with the darkest thoughts I've been presented with ever. And I love waking up an entire year being suicidal. I love every day who I am. I love the person I am. I have so much compassion for myself. And I said this when I met Ryan. The first thing Ryan did when I went into the room, I thought I did joke in the messages when we've been messaging back and forth saying, I hope you're a hugger. You know what I mean? And I thought I didn't want to overstep that mark, but the first thing he did, he stood up, come over to me. He just goes, John Bell. And he walked straight up to me and he gave me the biggest hug. And it felt like he didn't want to let go himself. Do you know what I mean? He just gave me the biggest hug. And such a lovely guy, really is. And I said to him, so basically how I feel now, because when I've lost it, I know that if I've got all this love for my son and it has to go somewhere. So he lives in my heart. As far as I'm aware, he lives in my heart. Because that I feel, it feels so painful sometimes losing someone this close to you. You feel your heart's actually being crushed. The anxiety from that is that much pain. This is why I can push myself doing these challenges that I did 100 miles in one go and things, because the physical side of that is just temporary. It's not injury. It's things that the human mind can push through. Do you know what I mean? The potential of the human mind is unbelievable. We don't realize, we don't tap into it, what we can actually do so much more. We give up on ourselves far too easy as human beings, I think. And so for me, it's all about the resilience. So if Jake lives in my heart, I'm going to make my heart a very nice place for him to live there. So I'm going to be the best version of me. So I don't feel sorry for myself anymore and think, what's the world going to do for me? When's something going to go right for me? And all that sort of scenario. I think from a different mindset, what can I give to the world? What can I give back to us? And that's what I like to do now. And I live much happier doing that. I get everything I need. I don't want or need for physical possessions anymore. Fantastic.
It's amazing. I love that. First of all, I'm just going to say, welcome to KevJet, the podcast, John Bell.
Thank you for having me, Kev. Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
It was great. I knew the second that we met in Wrexham that I had to have you on the show, and it took a little while, but here you are, and looking forward to this conversation because it's such an important conversation. And I love your zest for life, where you are in the stage of life at the moment. it's taken a while for you to get there. And I love that you're happy to tell the story and share it with other people.
Thank you. I think it's so important to develop self-care. To be fair, I've gone through quite a bit with losing my son, as you know. So
tell me about Jake. Tell me what he was like.
Wow, that question Ryan asked me, that's the first thing Ryan said in the interview. And it's just great to have people ask you when your child's no longer here. For someone to want to know about him is so important to someone that's lost someone so close to him. And you've got me there. You've got me, buddy. You got me. It was just absolutely everything to me as any child would be to a parent. It was absolutely everything. It was so just. It was a boy. He was boisterous. He climbed everything and anything. It's like you had to be really cautious of it. 2.5 years old on a climbing frame on a pole. It would be up the top in seconds and you're running under him like this. It's just, he was a proper boy. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what is a proper boy. No. It was just a boisterous boy. Do you know what I mean? Very, very like that. He was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. He could make anybody laugh. He'd walk into a room. He'd just such a lovable character. He was a lovable rope. Do you know what I mean? He could be mischievous. He could push things. I'm pretty sure he was on the spectrum with ADHD, if I'm honest with you.
Sure.
He was too young at the time and things. I don't want to go too much into detail with that because I can't say. I'm adamant. Yeah, well, that's just my views of it, isn't it? And I think I am, if I'm honest with you, Kev. I think I am. I feel like I understand him, and I feel like I understand why Jake's no longer with us, if that makes sense. I feel I've learned to empathise that much with myself and things that I sort of understand him and planning to be with Jake, like I said earlier, about developing suicidal tendencies and needing to make my peace with myself to want to live again and actually thrive doing that. It's just, I can't let him die 100%. I won't want to live. If he's gone 100% to me, I can't survive that. So I've created a world in my own mind where he still lives in my heart.
And he lives in all the good things that you're doing in his memory. And I think that is such an amazing thing.
There's that saying, isn't there? I think it might have been Al Pacino or Robert De Niro said it in one of the films, and I think it's one of those. They say we die twice. Once when the last breath leaves our body, and then again when the last person we know says our name. So as long as I'm breathing, Jake's still alive.
Exactly. Completely understandable. It's healthy, and that's part of the message.
That's important, especially in a world where there's so much toxic masculinity as well. And I don't think people understand that, the male ego and toxic masculinity. I don't think we fully look into that too much. I don't think
that's what I love about your message, because you're not afraid to talk about all this, and I think that alone helps so many fathers that are afraid to talk about it.
Oh yeah. I can see that, to be fair, but like I say, when you've got young people growing up as well and things, and there's so much taboo around the word suicide. There really is a lot of tabooness around it, and for good reason too. And there's all this sort of stigma that talking about it and saying the word might trigger people. I truly don't think that's the case. But you've got to be appropriate for all audiences. We're all different. You've got young people growing up and they're still learning to regulate their emotions. There's so much, you look around you, everywhere you go now in the world, in adults as well, how much emotional dysregularity do you see, Kev? It's everywhere.
It is.
Absolutely everywhere. Quite a large portion of the human population have got zero self-awareness of their own emotions and how to regulate them.
No.
And I think it's important to teach that. I think it's important to teach that in schools right from the beginning. Parents to understand their own as well. It's psychologically proven, though, that we pass our own to our children.
Yeah.
As well. I don't know if you go into the psychology of it. They say it takes around about, obviously give or take, every situation is different, but around about sort of 5 generations before somebody becomes a cycle breaker. So I've often joked when people say, because people don't think I look British with being slightly darker skinned and things. And have you looked at your ancestry? I'm like, I've got enough trauma already from generations to go back any further. So I'm happy who I am as I am. I don't need to know where I came from. You know what I mean?
You always see family members, you still see them actually, where something traumatic happens amongst the family and the parents just say, don't talk about that in front of the children.
Yep.
And I don't know, there's something about that just makes you feel like, oh my gosh, these poor children when they grow up, because what are they going to feel like? They're going to feel like, oh, we shouldn't talk about their feelings and they shouldn't open up and it should be taboo, like we're just talking about. And I love that you're just open about things, and you have a great variance in audience because you have the fathers and the grandfathers and the football players, like all the men, but you put on these costumes and you wear a bathtub and you do these treks, and it just attracts every single person to talk to you. And you're so open and honest. And I just think that's such an amazing thing.
Thank you. It's a ludicrous, when you look at the bathtub, it's a ludicrous idea, isn't it? But it's in this, I think it's genius as well.
That's what got me to talk to you in Wrexham. I was like, I need to talk to this bathtub guy.
So people look at you gone out as well when you're walking down when I'm doing anything at first. I mean, can you imagine being up in the mountains and you see?
You'd be like, suffering from altitude.
And the old, do you know, the more I look at it as well, I've always loved Marvel, and so did Jake as well. And we'd go to the cinema for every single Marvel film. It was our thing. In fact, I'm going to show you something right now. Just unsure if I'm going to lift my laptop up.
Yep.
I'm just going to put the light on slightly. Just bear with me, because you might not see it in the background. But I've got these shelves in the alcoves, and can you see that? Just So that there it's about 3 foot, I'd say, long. I built that when we first lost Jake. It's out of Lego. We used to love Lego and Marvel. So there's the black wall, it's the Deadpool colours. And then if you look at the end where it said "Love You 3000," got Jake's name in. That's what Robert Downey Jr. said, isn't it? Is Iron. So have you seen the
yeah.
And all the Lego figures are very OCD lined up. They're all Jake's Lego figures, and some added from other loved ones as well, family members. So instead of flowers, we had that at the side of Jake's coffin. We lost it.
That's beautiful.
That's part of something that's always been there. They're all stood to attention. All those characters represent family members and friends that put them on there for it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I've got all sorts here. But I buy him bits for his birthdays and stuff. So I've got his urns on there with his ashes, which 2 little urns, one red, one black, sort of Deadpool theme. And it's all just always been sort of Jake, look, because he's so cheeky. Do you know what? It would be inappropriate from time to time. Do you know what I mean? As growing up, and it was just what a character. So Deadpool, who can't love Deadpool, the character, and Ryan, how he's brought it to the big screen is amazing.
Yeah.
As well. So it's been quite overwhelming. And Ryan stayed in touch, as well. He did give me his email address and as well.
Good.
And it just I emailed him over Christmas, right? And just obviously with all the stuff in the press with Blake and the smear campaign, I'm like, do you know what? A lot of people can think when you're in that sort of position, I'd like to have his money though. That's what you hear people say. It's like, do you know what? With that, it's like with Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. There's more problems when you're in that position. You can struggle more with your mental health. Social media is just an open forum for people to just be awful and hide behind a screen. And the stuff that comes out, the worst side of people come out, making assumptions of things. And it's just, it was awful to see that going on. And they dealt with it very professionally, where they were just going all over social media with it. And I just, my heart was feeling for it. I'm like, wow. And I thought I'd better reach out to him over Christmas, wish him a Merry Christmas and everything. He said, don't worry yourself about all that. You've got enough on your plate, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I said, sorry, I've not emailed for a little while. So it's not every day, basically. You get an A-listed celebrity gives you his email address, is it? And he said, don't ever think you can't. He said, you can message me anytime, basically. And he just said, he said, I hope you don't think I'm being condescending, but he said, what you do, I'm so proud of you, what you do and what you continue to do, despite headwinds no parent should have to deal with. For him to take the time out and say things like that, it just means a lot, don't it? Do you know what I mean? It does mean a lot. It means a lot to me. I know he got behind what we do as a charity and things, but I feel like he got behind me as a person, as a human being. It's just humanity in it. purest form, isn't it?
It's a Canadian thing.
Is it? I'm coming to Canada.
It's a Canadian thing.
Yeah.
No, we love him.
It's an amazing journey. I mean, I'm already on the sort of side of it now where I know I can survive, not just survive, like I said earlier, thrive. I didn't say the title of the book actually, did I? So
no.
Souls. I feel like Jake's with me constantly. Do you know what I mean? So resilient souls. The logo I've sort of done with phoenixes coming together as well. It's amazing. 2 phoenixes coming together, rising from the ashes. Resilient souls.
Did you feel that
beyond the darkness?
Wow, that's perfect. Did you feel that darkness hit you very quickly, or was it a slow ride into that dark area?
It's there all the time. It's there. I lived in it. I was consumed by it. I was consumed by my grief. Totally consumed by my grief.
And was that right away from day one?
It's right at the beginning. As soon as I won't go into detail about being at the hospital with him, like I say, because he was at the hospital. It's not fair for my other family. But from the moment that we left the hospital when we did lose Jake, I just the first thing I knew I needed to do was I needed to know that my other children was okay. I needed to see them all physically and know that it was okay. So, and I started right from the beginning looking at putting my own coping mechanisms in place because I knew I weren't going to. I felt like I couldn't survive this. So I had to start looking at putting my own coping mechanisms in place. So talking about this I hadn't spoke right back at the beginning, so I might get a bit upset, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that, Kev. Do you know what I mean? It's healthy, like you say earlier, it's healthy for me. I love talking about Jake, even this stage of it all, but I just be very conscious so I don't upset me. It put me, I feel like I sort of went into survival mode, into survival mode. And I'm ex-army and ex-prison service. And so I've done so much in those sort of jobs as well, worked in sort of private security. It's the government and private security all my life. Mm-hmm. So I've had a good toolbox already, which I feel fortunate for. Do you know what I mean? So I started putting things in place myself. 5 days before Jake's funeral, we was due to do Ben Nevis. There was a friend at work who was carrying a big about 20 kilogram rock for the charity Mind for mental health. And it's the same again with the battle, the visual representation of the burdens you don't see. And Jake was going to be joining us. He was going to come and join us for it. And unfortunately, we lost him very close to that date. I felt that I needed to do it still. This was 5 days before his funeral. And my wife joined me as well. She's got fibromyalgia, so she struggles quite a bit with pain and things. And we smashed it. I mean, it weren't the best time compared to what I do now, but we smashed it. We did it. And I got this little teddy bear that they give you at the hospital, one that goes with your child, one that you keep for yourself. And that went everywhere with me at first, you know what I mean? Grown man carrying a teddy bear of that. And I was up Ben Nevis with this. And something changed in me that day and told me I needed to be in the mountains, Kev. Something just told me I needed to be there. And the connection I got with nature was what was probably one of the biggest saviors. But it was a connection I was developing with myself as well. I was learning to actually be my true, authentic self. I didn't know who I was properly until I lost my son. It took me losing Jake to find myself. Do you know what I mean? I feel I've been lost most of my life. I feel like it's difficult to say this because I don't want other people in the family to think, how can you think that way sort of thing. But I feel that Jake has given me the biggest gift ever when I should have been giving it. Does that make sense?
I was just going to say, maybe he saved you.
Yeah, every day. Oh, it does.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is. It keeps me alive. That's why I have to keep him alive in my heart. I can't. I know now, no matter what God, religion, anybody believes in. So I've been up some mountains in Sideways Stone. My family worry about me because they'll say, oh, there's a storm coming in. I'm like, even better. I'm going up that mountain now. Don't tell me I can't do something because I will stand my ground and show you it can be done. And it's not, I don't know if it's a stubbornness or what inside of me, but it's a survival instinct as well that I need to be mentally strong. I need to survive this. I surpass physical limitations now and my mind takes over. Become a good big fan of David Goggins. I just understood when someone told me about him. I understood where he comes from with it, from the trauma and things as well, and how showing up for yourself is so important. The darkness, let's get back on track to the darkness side. I think about, weren't you? It's there all the time. There's so much I could tell you. You won't have enough time in this podcast, to be honest. That darkness is different for everybody, but there's basic fundamental principles there. But my own personal sort of darkness, it was consuming me to a point where I just shut off. I didn't want to even people, if that's a word. I didn't want to people anymore. People were the problem in the world to me at that point. The world was awful. And then it was, well, it's not the world, it's people. People are the problem. They don't realize that they're ruining this world. They don't realize they're adding to people just carrying on as normal. And I'm here without my son. And it's the hate in the world mentality, the woe is me mentality that we can so easily develop, every single one of us. And I thought I have to get out of this. I'm going to be totally honest right now. And I'm comfortable enough to be honest that I was in such a state of mind that I thought to myself that if I'm going to go, then, well, I'm choosing words carefully because you're a paedophile, you're a wife beater, you're a child rapist. I'm going to take you with me, and I'll take all the sort of worst sort of things with me to go take them out of the world so people can be safe. Yeah. That was the mentality I was creating in my head to justify I'm going to go and I'm going to take all the crap with me so humans can continue and my own family can continue, sort of thing. Take that badness with me. But when you look at the theory from one of the greatest psychologists of the last century, Carl Jung, of the dark soul of the night and the darkness within, every single human being has bad and good inside of them. And I question myself as to, despite the bad things these people have done on that level as well, I question myself to think, you know what? Who am I to make those decisions? I've done a complete turnaround. I've developed that much compassion for myself to want to live, that I want to have compassion for all human beings. So I'm very conscious. And you'll see now, sometimes I slow things down talking because I've lived all my life. This is why I think I'm on the spectrum. I've had impulsive decisions. My inner dialogue has been attacking just on constant all my life. When I think before losing Jake, I think I've never felt, I said this to someone today, and it's, do you know what? It's no disrespect to anybody in my life. My parents are brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And the family's brilliant. We all have our complexities, as we said earlier, pass our own traumas on. But just how my head works, I've never truly felt home anywhere. Now I feel at home wherever I am because Jake's with me. I feel home. Do you know what I mean?
You're at peace.
Yeah, I'm at peace. I'm truly at peace. And it's an amazing feeling. I just want to give back to the world.
You are, which is an amazing thing.
I don't even want to step on bugs anymore.
Yeah, you are. I mean, do you want to talk about walking for hope?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think it's important to actually, because a lot of people don't realize, I don't think, when the amount of people I've heard say to me when I set the charity up initially, said, oh, charities are all just a cover up for people to make money. I took a huge pay cut to set up the charity and plowed a lot into it. I'm tens of thousands down. Do you know what? I don't need to say that to you.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about. But I think it's important that people realize how much actually goes into charities. A lot of people that do stuff for charity don't do it for that reason. They actually down in pocket themselves. I don't do anything for a pat on the back. It actually helps me put him back in. So, I mean, walking for hope. Now, I knew I wanted to do something. And everything about the name of the charity, a lot of people wonder what the actual picture is on the logo. They think it's a couple of bananas sometimes. It's a sycamore. And the seeds, or do you know the little helicopter things off a sycamore?
Yeah.
Like the propellers that you throw in the air as a kid. It's one of those. And I found it walking to Hope at a place called Hope in the Peak District. That was one of my first big walks when I walked from my own town to Hope in one go to see how far I could walk in one day. It was 37 miles. And then I camped there and walked back the next day. And I found that, and it was bent in a form that it was in the shape of a ribbon. Ribbons are used for charities. You see them quite often. Yeah. And it was green and yellow as well because of the seasons and things. And so it was half and half. And green within charities is one of the mental health sort of awareness colours, and yellow is suicide prevention. And in the middle, because how it was curved in, it formed an heart. I've still got the actual leaf. It's all brown now. I want to have it put in a resin thing. Still got it. And that had to become part of it. And when you look at the actual, so it's walking for hope and then resilience through nature's our motto. So it's all about connecting with yourself and nature and healing through nature as well. Do you know what I mean? So but the sycamore, when you look at the sycamore tree itself, in ancient Egypt, it's the tree of life, and it's all about resilience and life. as well. So it just all fits. It all fit, and it was me walking to hope that day, and I felt that I needed hope, and I need inspiration and hope every day myself. And there's nobody out there that I could find that. And I thought, you know what? I've got to dig deep. I've got to find this. I've got to create it myself. And that's what I do every single day. Being introduced, I find so many more people because I'm looking for this, doing the same thing. Terry Fox, wow, massively inspired by this guy, and his family's carrying this on for him. Unbelievable. And yeah, so I go on tangents.
No, it's fine. This is a great example. Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It really is. And yeah, so it started from there. So I was walking for hope that day. And that's where the name of the charity come from. It just all come together. It all comes together. So I'm originally started as co-founder and director, paid all voluntary for the charity, start doing organised walks and things. But because of having to, fortunately, I could stay part-time to do that. I went to part-time, so I had to still work still. And it reached a point that I had to take I got made redundant from that part-time job. So I've had to go back to work full-time. I didn't know what that looked like, Kev.
Sure.
I didn't know what that looked like. I thought, how do I fit in with these thought processes now into a normal life? I don't want to make somebody rich. I don't want to be turning up and meeting deadlines because there's somebody sat there being greedy, wanting to be a millionaire. There's always somebody like that. So I've gone into support worker with vulnerable children, and the company I've started with, unbelievable. They want to make a difference. They invest in people.
Really, you've really found your path.
I think I have.
You found yourself. You've said that numerous times, but 100%. you really have.
Creating it along the way, though. I just want to put back in. I want to lessen suffering in the world in general.
Yeah,
and things. But it starts with yourself. It starts with yourself. The best thing we can give the world is the best version of ourselves. But the charity, I've took a bit of a step back so I can have some time with the family as well. Because do you know what? I've put my own family to one side to do this as well. And I've been called selfish by people and all sorts. And that's happened. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to go into that. But it's been needed. It's been part of my survival so I can stay here for the family. That's the whole ripple effect into the positive ripple effect. You know what I mean? I'll be the punch bag as I will live till 110 to be a punch bag for anyone that's don't know. I'd rather anger be vented at me than that anger's internal and they don't know what to do with it, and it results in an impulsive decision. You see where I'm going? Yeah. You see where I'm going with this? I'm resilient and strong enough to take as many punches the world wants to throw at me. So, which is what I was talking about earlier with being on the mountain in a sideways hailstorm, and it makes it better for me. I want to go up in a storm, and I've been up there literally looking up to the sky when I spoke about gods and what people believe in, different gods, different religions. It's sort of transcended past that for myself now to a point that I don't actually believe in an external deity. Don't dismiss the fact that I think there's something, and I think it's within all of us. I believe in myself, and I believe in humanity. I believe this is inside every single person, and I will go up a mountain, and I was up there in literally sideways Elster, top of Whernside at York Street Peas, screaming to the sky to whatever God anybody sort of believes in. I'm being respectful when I'm saying this. Yeah. Whatever God anybody believes in, screaming up there, is that the best you've got? Because I've been broken. I have been broken, and it's not. I know human beings. I know I'm vulnerable. Humans we're one of the most vulnerable species when you look at it on the planet. I'm not naive to that fact. It's not ego talking or anything like that. I just can't be broken anymore.
Yeah,
I cannot be broken. Present me with a problem, I will find you a solution. If I can't find a solution, I will create a solution. That's what I'll do. And that's what I do. But it starts from within. We need to show up for ourselves. It's so important. And that's just the old message with the bathtub. I mean, at the moment, the Deadpool, dressing as Deadpool, Jake's favourite character, that side of things with that character is so relevant. And Ryan made me see this more when I met him and he's talking about it. It's so relevant to the pain side. It really is. And the bathtub being a visual representation. So showing up for yourself, how difficult it is to walk up mountains, navigating a bathtub with limited walking space inside it, and to take that up rocky steps that are 2-3 foot high, what people will use hands to actually help himself up on. And I'm growing up in a bathtub. I've got friends that dress up. I've got Captain America, Wolverine, Thor. There's loads Spider-Man. There's loads of people that have started coming out with us dressing up as superheroes.
Amazing.
And a couple of them have been, well, quite a few of them are really good friends as well. We've got a little men's group that we've got unofficially for the charity. We support each other. We get out on our own and things and go out for our own well-being as a group of men in the mountains. My wife and some of the women that are volunteers for the charity as well. They've got their own little group now where they support each other as well. Because men and women, we're slightly different, aren't we, if we'll be honest?
Yeah.
We do need our own little sort of... I think, do you know what? When you look at it, humanity now, we've got everything going off with different demographic groups and things. And I think it's important to notice this. But for me, it's important for the inclusive. Everyone's a human being at the end of the day to me. Everybody's a human being. And I see past gender and everything like that now. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's more than that for me now.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say, and I live by it, you get from the world what you give to the world.
Of course, yeah.
It's so true.
When you spoke about darkness earlier, so what I notice is if I'm not careful, when you're talking about your own sort of darkness, there is truly nothing I can't talk about in any setting. There really isn't. Obviously we all get shame and guilt and things like that, but I feel that the majority of my stuff, we'll all take stuff to our grave with us that we'll never tell anybody. Do you know what I mean? We all lie to ourselves daily. If anybody tells me any different, they're one of the biggest liars going. It's themselves. Every single one of us do. It's human nature, isn't it?
So true.
But we don't want, nobody would want their entire deepest, darkest secrets laid out on a table, deepest, darkest secrets for everybody to see. So I've learned to reflect on myself very well and develop self-awareness so that my deepest, darkest parts of myself, I'm okay with. I'm okay with. I can sort of dip my toe in that dark place and tease it and say, do you know what? When I wake up in the morning, that darkness creeps in. You got to be careful when you talk about darkness, because if you're not careful, you don't manifest it. You bring other people's traumas to the surface subconsciously and things as well. So for me, when I wake up, I wake up every morning, Kev. Every morning. It's coming up to 5 years this July. Right? There's not actually one day that I wake up and I think to myself, do you know what I mean? Every day I think to myself, I don't actually want to do that. I don't actually want to live on this planet, if I'm honest with you, right? Without my son physically. But I find him in my heart every day. This is every day. And I know this is every day because I live and breathe this myself. This is my life. I know this. I've got no reason to lie to you or anybody else. I feel this every day I wake. So that woe is me mentality that I know is there, I can't live like that. So to me, so that darkness in my own mind, right? That darkness, as it's portrayed in cartoons, the devil, the God, and everything like that, isn't it? Arguing against do bad, do good, etc. That's the inner dialogue, isn't it? That's the inner dialogue. So I make that feel sorry for itself, the darkness, and I make that worry. How many 100 miles is John going to make us walk today? What mountain is he going to drag us up? Because they will give up before I do. I guarantee you. Because I will push them through hell. So I sort of semi-live in my own hell, if I'm honest with you. I've made hell comfortable. I'm not afraid of it, though. It's truly exhilarating as well. It's truly exhilarating. It really is.
Well, you have the energy for it, that's for sure.
I can pull energy from it.
You definitely are doing that. I'm just mindful of the time, so I'm just going to move on to some fun questions. Some will be meaningful. Some you'll think, why the hell are you asking me that? So let's just start with, are you a good cook?
Do you know what? Not bad. I'm not going to big myself up. Not bad. I did pick up a few tricks when I worked with some chefs from years ago. So yeah, I can do a bit. My wife burns everything, so I end up doing it.
What's your spirit animal and why?
Do you know what? I don't really know. I'd like it to be a wolf.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah, I've never put much thought into that. And I think I'm probably more spiritual than most people now. And it's not something I've ever believed in. Do you know what I mean? But this is probably the purest form of spirituality I think somebody can achieve, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's individual journeys, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to have to put some more thought in that. I think
you too.
I'd say a wolf because I think deep down I am a bit of a loner. Do you know what I mean? I know they've got but then I can work in packs as well. I can change, I can adapt. And you get the lone wolf and you get the packs, don't you? Mentality. Yeah. Adapt to survive. I've learned to adapt to survive, and I've certainly have here with the loss of my son.
Of course. If you're we're a film.
Yours.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. When I shown you my Lego thing earlier, what I built for Jake, I unplugged my laptop to get up.
Oh, no.
And it just said low battery. Here we go, back on.
Perfect. If your life were a film, what would it be called?
I think I'd get that title for the book. Sounds good, wouldn't it? To be fair, Thriving Beyond the Darkness.
Definitely. Definitely.
And do you know who I'd like to play me?
Ryan.
I think it goes without saying, doesn't it? Although appearance-wise, I think Hugh Jackman might pull it off better. Sorry, Ryan.
I think we should send this to him.
Ryan's a bit prettier than me, isn't he? He's more handsome than me, I think.
Oh, good save. Good save. Have you ever had a close call on one of your adventures?
Yes, but it was more so when I was feeling in the state I didn't want to be here. I've stood on many a cliff edges thinking of chucking myself over and things. Yeah. So apart from that, no, I can't say I have. I don't. No, I run across ridges as well on the scrambles, what's known as scrambles in the mountains. There's one on Snowdon called Crib Gock, and there's one, but I think it's about a 600-foot sheer drop. And
oh my God.
It's amazing feeling when you're up there above everything, top of the world. It really is.
What's your favorite word to say out loud?
You got me here. Equanimity. Equanimity.
Love that.
Do you know the word?
I don't.
No. It's when you can achieve a state of mind consciousness to remain calm and to be able to think rationally and logically in any situation. So imagine not running on adrenaline. You can maintain a full calmness when confronted with whatever's going on around you. So you're in chaos. So imagine like a soldier running in under fire to help his colleagues that have been shot or something. Yeah. And you could maintain that calm state of mind to do so and be aware of everything around you at the same time. So I've learned to slow my impulsive. I've been impulsive all my life. I've learned to slow my own thought processes down so much to develop this equanimity that I can stay awake for 2 days in mountain challenges and things like that and still be positive.
Oh, that's amazing.
I might not be the fastest runner out there, but I'll get it done. I'll show up and I'll go and go. Keep going with one foot in front of the other.
Exactly. What is your favorite color and why?
I've always said red, I've always said red. I don't know why. I don't know where that comes from. And Jake sort of swayed on red as well, and a couple of others, but he used to tell me red. Now I think he's told his sister something else as well. Yeah. But he'd tell me red, and with the Deadpool sort of theme as well. It's stuck with me, so it's always been red since then. But it was never really important for me growing up to have a favourite colour. I don't know. I couldn't rationalise why I needed a favourite colour, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Does that sound weird?
No, not at all. I don't have a favourite colour.
No? Okay.
Yeah. If you could relive one day in your life, what day would it be?
Oh, you've got me here. Do you know what? Nah, I should really sit here and say the day Jake was born. Day any of my children are born. But I know I'm realistic with myself. I know I can't go back and change what's happened, but I know I can make a difference now in what I do and say. So I'm going to do it. The day before we lost Jake, but knowing and understanding do you know what, we do that, don't we, as human beings? Knowing and understanding what I know now and put me back in sort of school sort of thing. We do that all the time, don't we? Do you know? I know. Do you know what? I know I can't. I know that can't happen. So I don't even want to put myself through that. This might sound really weird, but the last day that I had with him in the hospital, as painful as that was, that's what led to everything right now. Because at that moment, I have never felt so alive but torn. I felt every heartbeat. I felt every part of my body, every fibre, like being that day that I lost my son. Yeah, and that's why I am who I am today. My boys made me the man I am today. Yeah, and you know what? I'm not afraid to say that out loud. I'm worried about upsetting the other children all the time because of what they're going through. I'm frightened to death speaking publicly of the fact of upsetting the other people closest to me.
You have those conversations with them.
There's been some conversations, but we're all at different stages in our grief, and they've got to find their own way. Yeah. Got to find their own way to grieve. They've got to find their own way, and we all need to respect each other's way.
Of course.
So But yeah, my son, as parents, we should be the ones teaching those lessons. And he has taught me biggest lesson in life, that we need to be strong enough to show up for ourselves. We need to be mentally strong enough, resilient enough, care enough about ourselves to show up for ourselves no matter what. And I love that, no matter what. Terry Fox, I love that.
It's so true. And if we're not strong enough to do that for ourselves, we can't show up for anybody else.
You can't, you truly can't, can you? We can go through the motions. But you're just kidding yourself, aren't you? If you think about it, you're kidding yourself. And I've had enough. I've kidded myself all my life. I'm not doing it anymore. And that's why I keep showing up.
I'm going to move into the last question I have for you, because I think it's really important. And it's a question I love to ask my male guests. What does being a man mean to you?
Do you know what? I used to think, this is no disrespect to my own dad. All my life, I've looked towards positive male role models because he's been absent a lot of my childhood. He didn't know. He didn't know how to be a father. I used to blame him. Do you know what I mean? He didn't know. He lost his dad in the war when he was 2 years old. So I didn't know what being a man was all my life. I thought I knew. It's totally different to what it was now. So now it's concentrate, to be honest, on being more of a human. Concentrate on being more of a human. You look into the psychology of the Carl Jung with the 12 archetypes, you know, about the 12 archetypes. And I always forget the two. I'm just learning more about that in a minute. But there's two archetypes that they say that the most successful people out there, right? And I'm not talking about success in riches. You look, there's so many people out there doing so much good. These are the people that have become comfortable. So men that have become comfortable with the feminine side, and women that become comfortable with the masculine side. So they've developed the balance inside themselves. They're the ones so being a man to me is I find it difficult to answer that question because I like I say, I concentrate more on being a human.
Yeah.
And I used to think I used to think I know what being a man was and battling the male ego and the alpha male status. Do you know what I mean? And that's the ego don't even exist, does it? Look at it. We create it. Do you know what I mean? So I think I just concentrate more on being a human being, if I'm honest with you. Do you know what I mean?
I love that answer.
Try to be a strong character. I'll try to be a strong character, but at the same time, I'm very avoidant of coming across as a toxic male. Do you know what I mean? I don't want that. I can get out there and I can do the old sort. It gets, some people refer to David Goggins as being toxic masculinity. You look at his stories, totally the opposite. It's not. You look at people like Andrew Tate, I think he's up himself. Do you know what I mean? He really is. It's just, I think that's toxic masculinity at its finest, isn't it? So it's just being human to me, but it really is being human. I just want to be the best sort of dad I can be, trying to not just survive, enjoy, thrive. And I want to be the example for my children so they know to show up for themselves as well. Do you know what I mean? And have that resilience.
I love that. Thank you, John. I loved our conversation. I could talk to you for hours.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you, buddy. I am conscious that, I mean, it's brilliant when you come on a podcast and it is about letting the guests talk, isn't it? I mean, it really is about that and it's nice. It really is nice. And I'll be honest, I can talk for hours, but I'm more conscious of the message I want to put out there now for humanity in general. I'm at peace. Thank you so much.